Today we're going to be installing a Fleece low profile shock mount on a 2002 Dodge. These are for the 94 and up Dodge trucks. And the low profile shock mount from Fleece, what this does is this actually kind of cleans up your engine compartment just a little bit. You can see on the Dodge trucks, the shock tower is extended up and it goes inside of the engine compartment there. For trucks with twin turbo setups, that can be restrictive for you on your size on your chargers if you need a little bit more room for the charge. So what this does is this gets the shock tower down and closer to its base, and it will give you more room inside of the engine compartment, and plus it just cleans up the engine compartment just a little bit. So we really like this product. We use it quite a bit, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our install. Now, first off, we are going to attach a spreadsheet into this video of what our suggested shock part numbers to use are in Bilston. And if you don't, you're just going to want to, if you don't use that, utilize that tool, you're going to want to make sure that you measure this and make sure that you get the right shock. This truck's got about a 2.5 inch lift on the front end of it, so we're going to use a little bit longer shock for this installation today. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get the stock shock out of the truck. Okay, first step in removing your shock is you want to remove the 13/16 bolt attaching the shock to the axle itself. First step in installing the low profile shock mount from Fleece is to get the old shock out of the truck. So we've gone ahead and moved the air box out here just to give us more room to work. We're going to attack the nut on the back side of the shock tower first. It's the 5/8 here. We're going to go ahead and take it out, and we're going to pull the just go ahead and remove the stock shock attached to the tower and bring it out, tower and all. Now to move on to the other two 5/8 nuts, we're just going to go ahead and take these up one at a time, easing the shock tower up with it. It is under tension, so it's going to go up. So you want to make sure that your wiring harness and everything above it is out of the way, and that the shock tower can unload and not impede on any of the wires or cut any of the wires up top here. So we're just going to take this up just easy as we go here. Now that we've got all three of the tower nuts off, we're going to go ahead and take the bolt out of the bottom of the shock. This is a 13/16 on the bottom here. Probably get that in there. There we go. All right, now we'll bring the shock and the tower assembly out in one unit straight through the top. Now you can do the same on the driver's side. It will come out of there. You got to do a little bit more finagling because of the master cylinder and whatnot over there, but it will come out. Okay, we're just going to take a quick measurement with everything out here. I know that my low profile shock mount is probably going to be just right about to the top of that tower. So we're going to be about 16.5 of this truck up on jack stands. So that's the weight of the truck compressing the spring, about 16.5 there. So I know that the shock that I've chosen that Fleece has advised us for was going to be the correct shock for this lift. We're going to go ahead and assemble the low profile mount to our new shock while we got it out here on the bench. So just depending on what shock you get, they're going to send hardware with it. So we're going to go ahead and put everything together here while we've got it out where we can work on it. It's a whole lot easier from here than it will be with the shock and the low profile mount inside of the truck. All right, so it goes together just like that. So while we've got it out here on the mount or the bench, we're just going to tighten it down until we start getting just a little bit of compression there of our bushings, and that'll be just about perfect. Now we're going to install our shock with our low pro mount on here into the truck. Just go ahead and drop it in from the top. Until it engages the perch at the bottom. And then just going to want to go ahead and pull it up a little bit so you can get your bolt in. Then guide the nut from the bottom onto it and get it lined up here. Now you got your bottom bolt in. This is where you're going to need some help. Easiest to just push this assembly down at one time and have one of your buddies down here underneath of you, ready to catch the shock tower and put the bolts on. So we're going to start it down. Get it lined up. And as soon as you get a couple of them caught, you're in pretty good shape. Give me one large, I'll get it. Yeah. Now your final step is to go ahead and tighten down all three of the 5/8 bolts as you're going around there. Try to take them all down at the same speed so it goes down and mounts up flush. All right, now we're going to reinstall our wiring harnesses that we kind of moved out of our way. And then also we're going to reinstall the air box. And then you're going to be almost done with your installation. We'll take a look at it over here and show you what it looks like. This is the Fleece low profile shock mount. Shock installed and ready to go. So if you have a question on this installation or any of our other installations, please let us know. Don't forget, we will have a chart in here for the recommended or the suggested shocks for this installation, but that's not going to take the place of you taking your own measurements and consulting with a shock manufacturer to make sure that you got the right shock. So again, this cleans up your engine bay, gives you a little bit more room for twin turbo applications. If you have a question on this installation or any of our other installations, please give us a call.